Hello, and welcome to Amipal, the #1 place on the internet for the sweetest Amiga content. Input! We're talking about mice today. It's kind of like the screen's light behind it. You can see a mouse though, can't you? You generally have two forms of inputs that connect to the Amiga. One being a joystick / joypad, the other being the mouse or a trackball. Maybe a trackpad. Let's talk about mice and joysticks, but specifically mice. I have a trio of mice to run through today, and I'm going to give my opinion on them. We've got new, we've got old, we've got modern electronics, we've got legacy things. It's going to be a hoot. Right, slightly different viewpoint for you here today. Here I am. We're going to start with the Naksha. This is a classic Amiga mouse from the mid-90s. Used to be described in Amiga format, I think it was, as the Lamborghini of Amiga mice. I'm not sure you can make a comparison like that between cars and input devices such as this, but there we go. They did, and here we are. It's a normal 2-button mouse, no scroll wheel or anything like that. That's not really something that came in until PCs, kind of like late 90s really. And yes, it's got a ball, so we have to deal with that. Amiga Atari switch on the bottom here, just in case you need to switch between different systems. And yeah, because it's got the ball in there, you have to deal with the usual gunge issues on the rollers. On this one, I've tried to give it a good clean with IPA and a toothbrush, but the stuff in here is really ingrained, and nearly lost the ball there. I really need to have a good go at it. I mean, it's decades old, that stuff, so who knows what it will take to shift it. It moves all right in Workbench. It's quite a bit of travel, and I can feel the lumps, a few of the lumps on those rollers that I need to clean. One thing that sometimes helps is you can put a bit of acceleration on, and all of a sudden it jumps around and it feels more like a modern mouse. But there's still something in it where it's just kind of, it's not quite right. So if we come into P-Paint, for instance, and you're trying to do accurate pixel art, you're never really sure how far it's going to go when you start dragging it around with that on. So if you're doing stuff in that, you kind of have to go back into here, do that, and then it feels a bit more natural with where you're going to go. It's not ideal. I think we're just used to much higher DPI mice than what we had back then. I think the real proof in the pudding though is with a game. So let's give Lemmings a go. I don't even know what level 5 is. You'd think I would by now, the amount of times I've played this. But this is where it feels a bit more natural. This is kind of where, you know, you've got that direct input between the hardware of the mouse and Paula and the I/O ports on the Amiga. You know, there's no scaling that's having to be done for high resolutions. It's just like click, it clicks, move, it moves. You just don't feel any delay in that action. And I suppose if you're looking for that real nostalgic feeling, then a classic Amiga mouse like this will probably do the job better than a more modern solution. Oh, it's this one. But yeah, I mean, this it feels great. I'm just conscious of the fact that I really need to I was going to say clean the ball, but it's not the ball, it's the rollers. It's the rollers that are an issue here. It's a very nice mouse though. It feels very nice on the hand. It's just the perfect size. It's that kind of like puck of a mouse. Yeah, very nice. But just looked online. These, I found one on eBay for 50 quid. 50 UK pounds, GBP. A boxed one as well. So I'd say that's a hell of a deal, to be honest with you, because it's a very good mouse. If you're looking for something more like the classic Amiga tank mouse that came with the A500, that tends to go for about 15 quid, sometimes a bit cheaper depending on yellowing and, you know, other issues. But yeah, I think this is higher DPI than the classic tank mouse, so it may feel better. I don't know. I don't have one to compare with. Let's try another one. Right, switched over mice and switching the Amiga back on. You never want to swap devices here with the Amiga on, because you will knacker the CIA chips. Don't just take my word for it. It happened to my brother's A1200, despite my warnings, despite them. Anywho, look, we've got a nice bright laser now. I try not to show it in my lens, actually. I kind of like this camera. This is the Amiga kit laser mouse. It's looking a bit grimy, actually. I should probably give it clean before I showed it to you. This is a laser mouse. It has 2 buttons, 3 buttons if you count the middle one, but I don't have that set up for anything. But yeah, it's got a scroll wheel. You can kind of see me scrolling through the the workbench icons there, just in case you were unaware that that is something that can... Oh, it's not doing it now. Maybe I need to select one. Yeah, there you go. Workbench 3.2, everyone. This supports Amiga scroll wheels, mouse scroll wheels, natively, so that's good to see. This, I mean, I've had this mouse for a couple of years now, so I'm really used to the way this works. It feels wonderful in Workbench and in paint programs and everything else. It goes where you point it. It feels like a modern mouse in terms of speed and accuracy. You know, you can really do those fine pixel movements if you need to. I will say one thing: you do get a click with the microswitches, but sometimes I'll feel like I've clicked and it won't register, and I'll have to click again. Whether that's me not pressing hard enough or some other issue, I don't know, but it can happen. I still think it's a very good... There, I click there and Workbench still... Yeah, the thing is I can't repeat it when I want to explain it, so yeah. It works well, like I said, and yes, it's got a scroll wheel. Unfortunately, with the MUI list view like this, it goes between items rather than actually doing this. Even if I'm here, it still does it like that. And that's something that will happen with another mouse that I'll show you soon afterwards. We'll do Lemmings again, just as a benchmark for this. Yeah, 8. What happens in 8? We'll find out, won't we? But yeah, very good movement here. Possibly moves a bit fast for a classic Amiga game. There's no way we were using mice that basically move from one corner of the screen to the other in less than an inch. But here we are. This is 2023 at time of recording, and this is what we're used to now, isn't it? I mean, the wireless mouse that I use with my Mac, for instance, you know, you don't really have to do much movement with that to get it to shift from one side of the screen to the other, and that's like a huge resolution compared to this 320 by 200 that is going on. Oh no, what do I do? Hang on. There we go. Again, this isn't really one that I should be using, is it? Because there's not much finesse to this. But here we are. Never mind. Let's blow them up. Oh no, they're out. And now I've got to take that one out as well. Yeah, mucked that up, didn't I? But yeah, this it works very nicely indeed. One thing I will say, it doesn't have much heft to it. That's loud again. When I compare it to the Naksha, it is very lightweight, which is good in the sense that you don't get much strain through moving it or anything. But when I compare it to the heft of the Naksha, which is probably a combination of the old electronics used in it, as well as, you know, that big heavy ball that gravity needs to pull down so that it properly rolls across the ground and engages with rollers. But yeah, there is definitely this feels like 2-3 times heavier than this. So bear that in mind. Also, I don't think it quite sits exactly flat. I do find it kind of goes between these 2 points. That's like the fulcrum for it. Again, I'm really nitpicking here because I've used this for ages and I am more than happy with it. You do have to bear in mind though that for a modern device like this, for a small audience like ours, you are looking at limited runs and hence high prices. So I can't remember how much I paid for this, but currently on Amiga Kit this is 38 quid. Factor in inflation, you know, and you're probably looking at something close to what you'd originally pay for a mouse. You know, it's not, we're so used to cheap electronics, but you know, it works brilliantly. It's I mean, Amiga, you know, didn't coin the term plug and play, but you plug this in and you play. It works. The scroll wheel works brilliantly in 3.2. It works nicely in 3.9 as well on my tower. Although I think you have to install freewheel on that to get it working. That middle mouse button can be configured in some programs and with other utilities. I haven't felt a need to use it, but I think what do I do with it on 3.9? I've done something with it on 3.9, but I've done nothing with it on 3.2. It's a good mouse. It is a good mouse. I only banged my head once switching it on that time. And this time I didn't knock the tripod, just in case you're wondering why the composition may have slightly changed in that last one. Yes, in case you were wondering why I'm doing a mouse video, it's the wireless tank mouse. Where did I put the box? Here it is. Ha ha! I'll do a close-up of that so you can actually see what it is. This is a nice device. It's got a good weight to it actually. It's not as light as the Amiga Kit mouse, but nor is it as heavy as the Naksha that I showed, which I think is actually slightly heavier than the original tank mouse anyway. This is a lovely little device. It's currently switched off, but it's a wireless mouse. You can see it's got no tail. I know it's called a cable, but you know, it's a mouse, it has a tail, doesn't it? Even if it's at the top. So it's a Bluetooth or kind of like other wireless type mouse. You can switch it here between the two, and I'll do a close-up of this. There's an adapter that comes with it that you plug into the back of the Amiga that also handily sits in here when you're not using it, if you don't need to use it. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's just wonderful design. I love that kind of thing. So it's two AAA batteries in there. I've got two rechargeable ones because, you know, you have to use rechargeable if you're using something like this, don't you? The amount that you go through. I know I do with my Mac. I'll just switch it on. It's got a green laser on it. I don't know if you can see that, but either way, here we are in Workbench. It moves nicely. It does move nicely. There is a... Many people probably wouldn't be able to notice this, but I'm just so finicky when it comes to my input devices. This is the absolute truth. One of the main reasons I've never switched to a Windows PC was because of the way the mouse feels. And I absolutely love Amiga emulation and everything like that, but every one that I've tried, it just doesn't feel right on the mouse. Every one, Pi 400, someone's super duper PC with emulated Amiga on it, there's something there, that slight delay that just goes, that's not real. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Eventually we're all going to have to emulate Amigas, I get that, and I know I'm saying that in front of my 1200. She understands. It works very nicely. It's got great feel on the mouse buttons. We'll do P-Paint with this one. Yeah, it feels like a proper Amiga mouse. It's that shape, isn't it? You know, if you ever had an A500 with the tank mouse, this is smaller, I believe, than an actual tank mouse. Is it smaller? Somebody will tell me. I know the actual mouse buttons themselves are smaller because there's a scroll pad in here. Yeah, there's a scroll pad in it, not an actual scroll wheel. Again, that's a wonderful idea, because you imagine shoving a mouse wheel on that, it would look horrible. It would not look like the original thing, would it? And it would be, you know, it probably wouldn't have got the kickstart if it had been like that. But here we are. Yes, it even scrolls a bit in P paint if I do this. Hadn't noticed that before. It's a great thing about recording these, as I sometimes work things out as I'm going along. So it is genuine surprise when I do say these things. Yeah, this feels really nice. Yes, there is a delay. It is more or less imperceptible after all that I've just said. But yeah, I know it's there. Clicks work well. Yep, good. Again, you know, if we go into here and I click on Lemmings and then I decide to scroll, I don't really know where it's going to stop. I mean, it went up 2 there, but if I accidentally touch it, sometimes it can keep going, and I'll sit here going, oh no, how far did I go that time? If I go into input again, I'll show my settings. Again, it's on 3. It doesn't need acceleration. It is absurd with acceleration. Mouse speed 3, or you know, you can lower it to 2 if you really want that classic thing, that classic feeling. But no, it works very nicely like that. We will start Lemmings up again. Yes, you have to put up with Lemmings. It's the game that I started with on here as a test, and now we shall just keep going with it. We just do different levels, you know, keep it fresh. Yeah, that's a very nice feeling there. I can imagine some people who use this will probably think, oh, it's a bit, I'm feeling it on the pad of my hand there. I want something smooth, and I fully understand that. When you look at it against this, you can tell that this has definitely evolved from years, decades of mouse usage, that is a good shape for a mouse for left and right hands. This, yeah, is symmetrical in the same way this one is, but it's also clearly what's inspired the Cybertruck, isn't it? I could render this in Cinema 4D, for instance, very easily compared to the round shape of the Amiga kit mouse. Here we go. Oh my goodness, they're coming out at speed. Yeah, it's quick enough and accurate enough, this is, to actually get them in on time. Although I should have been over here quicker to get it right in that corner, because then I could have done it in one, couldn't I? Oh look, they can scale it now. Poor guy, just left to build his bridge. All on his own. This is a good move. I'll quit that. Let's put something else on, because I did mention no second prize, didn't I? Yeah, good clicks, good clicks. Don't you love WHD load? I'm amazed by it every time I see it. It's an absolute marvel. I just wish I'd known about it. Oh no, I did know about it in the early 2000s, because I was using my Tower 1200, and because of the graphics card output, I was mostly playing like those RTG games, and my older games suffered as a result. I could have whacked them all on there, just played as normal, as I used to. Things you learn, eh? Let's just give it a go. Let's go for this guy, Fabrizio Adorno. I'm so sorry. Let's go. Now, it's got mouse sensitivity on no second prize. I'm just going to leave it on 3 and we'll see how it works. And of course, the great thing about this mouse is that it's not tethered. Right mouse button. How do you change gears in this? Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Well, this is probably quite good actually for just testing the sensitivity. I haven't got anyone else around me, is it? Yeah. It works very nicely. I mean, I was always amazed by the 3D in this, but just on the 68030, yeah, it's lovely. This works nicely. I can imagine it probably works quite well with Robocop 3. There's a little nod to the other episode I did. See, that's great. I bet I've got it on manual gears. That's me just trying to find the different cameras. But yeah, works well in the game. Works very well indeed. Let's do a conclusion. Of course, one option is to actually use a PC mouse. These are 10 a penny, aren't they? You know, you can get USB mice left, right and centre. I'm not sure whether they need to support the PS2 protocol in order to work, but it just occurred to me that because the tank mouse comes with one of these, which is basically the wireless adapter for it, this then also comes with a 9-pin to USB adapter, and I thought, well, I've got one of these for my Amiga 1. Let's plug it in. Let's see if it works. And lo and behold, it does. And is it very nice? Yes, it is, because it's a high quality Logitech device. Yeah, I mean, is it the cheapest way of doing it? USB to 9-pin adapters are available on eBay for reasonable prices. You're actually looking at probably something between 30 and 40 quid. Depending on what you buy though. And I mean, I can't really vouch for how safe they are for being hot swappable. I'm certainly not going to try and unplug this while the machine is on, because I like my custom chips. But this is very nice. We'll do the usual test, shall we? So again, this is a laser mouse. It's a performance laser, allegedly, according to the bottom of it. But yeah, it's a very nice, very smooth action to it. The pads underneath are nice and smooth. The thing sits nice and flat. It's solid and got good heft to it. Scroll wheel is supported as well. I've locked up the Amiga with it. Interesting. I clicked the mouse button in, which on this mouse, I don't know what it does. But that switch there basically turns it between being a clickable scroll wheel, like a... I'll see if you can hear it. Between that sound and it being completely smooth. Okay, that's... am I a bit worried at this point? Yes, I am. The mouse no longer recognised. Machine is live. I'm switching this off, guys. Right, I've plugged the Amiga Kit 1 back in, it's working fine. Now I'm concerned about this that came with the tank mouse. Okay. I've got this plugged back in, it's working fine. I don't know what that is. Maybe the Logitech drew too much power through that. Maybe I won't be using this one to adapt to USB mice. But as I said, there are USB adapters available on eBay and Amiga Kit and all good Amiga hardware shops. One thing I was going to mention about this is the fact that it doesn't really want to work with a joystick switcher. Again, I think it's just a voltage issue as to how much is being drawn. I've got quite a big Amiga Kit arcade joystick plugged into one side of it, and when I have the adapter for this plugged into the other side, it just wants to kind of move down very slowly, and that's it. So if you're going to use a joystick switcher, use a wired mouse, because I think it didn't want to work for this. Also, this is not cheap. Okay, I will say that up front. It is. I think I paid. It was €50 when I bought it, plus €10 tax on top of that, plus £11.95 for delivery, which for me came to about £65 after exchange. Is it worth £65? That's completely up to you. I love my Amiga and I just kind of want to use it, and it needs to feel good while I use it. This reminds me of the original tank mouse, and it is a very good mouse in and of itself. And because of its USB nature, I can plug it into other things as well. Laptops, my Mac, my Amiga 1, possibly games consoles that will accept a mouse. Haven't given it a try, but you know, why not? And you know, I've got my CD32 plugged into the TV downstairs, and a mouse cable is like, it's impossible to use with that, where the way it's set up. This I could plug into it and hopefully use it in some fashion. I haven't really tested the range, so I won't be able to tell you. Anyway, like I said, let's conclude things. So I've worked through a trio. I said a trio, didn't I, of mice. We actually went through 4 in the end. There we go. These things happen. I don't script these. You might have worked out. And I try and make them with the time I have available. So this kind of organic process can happen sometimes. This, very nice mouse. Very expensive. So it's up to you whether or not you can justify the cost for that. This is available from Sorden.ie, Irish supplier. So, you know, if you're buying it in the UK, it's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it, Brexit? So you end up paying like 12 quid delivery on this, and taxes and what have you. So, yeah, if you can justify the cost, I highly recommend it. If you just want a modern mouse that is going to work, without you worrying about USB adapters and everything else, this is a very good mouse. Again, you have to justify to yourself whether or not you want to spend like 38 quid on a mouse. I have to say, this feels better built because of the weight. I think the batteries in it kind of help with it as well. But again, £38 and what ended up being 65 quid. If all you're playing is games, Amiga games, I would heartily recommend an original Amiga mouse. I'd love to have a tank mouse, I would, but then on the other hand, I know I wouldn't use it because I'd, you know, believe it or not, I've got enough mice now. This will hold up very well if you just want that kind of the nostalgic feeling of a proper mouse. Proper. You know, nothing's going to go wrong with this. Obviously, you've got mechanical things to possibly service from time to time, like microswitches and what have you. I don't actually know how I'd get into this though, because I can't see any screws. It probably clicks together in some way that if you try to force it apart, you'd end up with shattered pieces of brittle plastic everywhere. So maybe ignore my advice on that. If you can get a good one though, it's very nice to use. As for the PC mouse, I mean, we saw what happened, didn't we? I will say though that the adapter that is supplied with this, there's no guarantee that it's going to work with anything else, is there? I mean, it's nice that it actually came with it. I think that's great. But I think it's specifically designed for this, and plugging anything else into it, you know, you're in the lap of the gods. I was genuinely scared that I'd either knackered the Amiga or the adapter, but I've switched it off, haven't I? But it's still working. There we go. My heart in my throat again there. Maybe I'll test the Amiga one again at some point. It needs an annual rollout anyway, doesn't it? I haven't switched it on in ages. Anyway, I hope you found this rather rambling episode handy. All prices were correct at time of going to press. If there's anything else you want to know about these mice, please ask me in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer any queries that you have. Any ideas for episodes you'd like to see, what you'd like to see me cover? I have got... Oh, is it down here? No, it's downstairs. Of course it is. The most recent Cyberpunk 2 game that I probably need to show you at some point. But other than that, thanks for watching. Cheers.